YouTube friends, it's Victoria from Victoria Makes. Hello! Now today I'm going to get things ready for Easter, so I'm making some crafts. I'm going to make little Easter bunnies out of my fabric scraps and make them into bunting. They can also be freestanding stuffed bunnies as well. I've already made some large ones and I'll show you those shortly, but I'm going to make small ones that will hang up from string around the home to decorate for Easter. So all I've done is I've got some cardboard leftover box and I've made myself a template, and I'll show you that now. It's simple and easy, and that's where you'll start. So I've got myself some cardboard, as I said, and I've drawn myself out just a simple template. It's a bunny shape. I did it on the fold so each side was near enough the same. Okay, so it's simple. You can create your shape whatever you want to do. You could do carrots, bunnies, whatever you want, little chicks, Easter eggs, etc. An Easter egg actually would be quite nice to do a bunny and then a huge big Easter egg, you know, and sort of alternate it, which would be a good idea. So I've got all these fabric scraps, I've just ironed them, and there's all sorts of different patterns, and what I'm doing is just iron them flat. You want to get the fabric sort of colourway matching, so you know there's lots of greens in all of these, so that's where I'm going with, and I've ironed them flat so that hopefully they will be nice and easy to cut out. So it's a case of then picking your pieces of fabric, laying out your template and cutting them out, and I'll show you the next stage. Right guys, so as I say, you pick whatever design you want, okay, and then get it cut out of cardboard. What I'm going to do for quickness, I'm going to go over this little bunny and make another identical template so I can do a lot at once. So freehand it and then cut them out of cardboard that you're going to recycle. And you can do whatever you want. As I say, you know, have a little look for ideas. Copy them. Sometimes you go in some of these high-end shops and see some beautiful decorations, and you know they're quite expensive, so it's nice to come back and make some sometimes, isn't it? It's also nice to buy them as well. I do like to buy quite a lot of decorations from a shop called Home Sense, but there isn't one where I live, so when I go to a major city I will go and look what there is for the season. And they have some really lovely high-end decorations which probably were the season before or the previous season, so if it's Easter it might have been in the very high-end shops last Easter, last year, not this year. And it's a good way of getting really nice decorations for a lot less than they would ordinarily be in a big department store. Right, so I'm just ironing that because I've got a bit of a crease on it, which I don't really want. Okay, so let's get the material. So as you know from previous videos, I have a lot of leftover fabrics, stained tablecloths that I just want to use. Be mindful of the pattern and see if you can incorporate as much of the pattern into your fabric design. I'm going to go around just with a pen. You can use tailor's chalk if you wish, but this won't be seen at the end. Now normally what I do is I sew two pieces and then turn it inside out, but what I sometimes find is you don't get the exact pattern. You know, it gets a little bit distorted sometimes. So this time what I'm going to do is make the edges rough so it looks like a rustic design, and therefore I won't turn it inside out. I'll just sew 2 pieces together, put a bit of stuffing in them and have the edges raw so it looks quite rustic, and that will be part of the design. Now you can see now that I don't know if you can see, there's a fine line where I will cut out, and there's still some left, and that'll go back into my fabric stash when I've cut that out. You'll need 2 pieces per bunny. As I say, pick the best design. Have a little look at the design where it is on your fabric when you're happy with it. So that's that one, and then obviously if we want the other side, we're going to have to turn that back to front and cut out that way, and then we will get the design on the right side. Obviously you can buy special fabric for this, and you can go and buy lovely Easter themed fabric, which would look really great, wouldn't it? That would be fab. But I'm using what I've got up, so I'm determined to try and use all this fabric. The problem with a huge panel like this is if I cut it there, I'm not getting all that lovely embroidery on the actual shape of the bunny, which I think is a bit wasteful, and that could probably go into another project where I could utilise more of that design. So I'm not going to use this in this instance on that piece, so that'll go back in there. Right, always look for the right side up when you're doing it as well. Start with the flowers. Sometimes it's hard to know on your design. I try and get as much of the design in as I can while I'm marking it out. If you can centre the design on your fabric as well, that'll work out better. But sometimes you just cannot do that because you haven't got enough fabric, and in this instance it's about using up your fabric. Right, let's get that cut. So that's going to be the top, and then we want the underside, don't we, which will be the back side. So we'll turn that over and then just try and get the best design hopefully out of it. I was thinking if I had a lot of plain cardboard, I would do a lot of these templates and then sew the fabric onto the plain cardboard so it stiffens it. Also, if you've got some of the iron-on stiffened fabric that you can get, that would be perfect. It would make it nice and stiff and hang even better. I've not got any of that, so I'm just going to use some old pillow stuffing. I like to change my pillows really regular, like every year or two, and I always keep the pillow stuffing for that purpose. It's always nice and clean. But I always think it's more hygienic just to regularly change your pillows. I wash them on a 60-degree wash. Really nice and fresh again. Sometimes it does distort the stuffing, but that's fine because you can sort of pull it apart and reuse it. At least you know it's hygienic and clean. I don't sell anything, so it's only for my use anyway. If you're having stuff to sell, then I would recommend that you buy proper stuffing from Hobbycraft or any other supplier that you use. So cut out all your templates, and the thing with this is I'm not going to get too florals for sure, but what I'm planning on doing is just doing it one way and then maybe doing it the other, so that I'll get some floral design on it, even though it might look like it's slightly the wrong way. The thing with these designs, I'll show you, you've got roses going up, roses going down, so there isn't really a specific way it goes up, but on the other hand, if you turn it upside down, it could also be okay on the other way, isn't it? So to be honest, you can get away with that. We'll do it that way, where there's one up and one down, and we'll put the bunny that way. So there's some nice little bits coming into the shops for Easter, so now's the time to get looking if you are wanting to get any decorations. I am planning on doing a few natural designs where I go into the woods and get some nice florals and branches, twigs and things, and decorating of eggs as well. So if you're out and about and you're walking in the countryside and you can put some twigs and stuff, do so, and then you'll be able to join me as I do my Easter tutorial on natural Easter decorations. Right, so I'm going to cut all these out and keep doing them in different fabrics, and then I'll come back to you shortly and show you the ones I've already cut out, so you don't have to watch me cutting out. Right, so what we've done then, so we've cut everything out now, and I'm going to put the back panel and the front panels together. Now if you wanted to actually sew these together and stuff them and turn them inside out to get a very nice neat edge, you could do, but put your right sides together that way. I've put it so that I can just sew the outside round, and I'm going to leave the edges a bit raw this time. Okay, so it's entirely up to you what you want to do. I'm quite happy with how it will look. It'll give it a bit of a rustic look. So put both of your pieces together and then you can sew them together. Now what you'll need is some kind of filling. Not a lot, just a little bit, so that it's just not flat, because you need it a little bit substantial. And as I said before, if you had some of that iron-on thick stiffener, that'd be really good with this. But I thought I had some, but I have to just have a little look in my drawers and everything. I can't find any, which is a bit of annoying. So I'm going to have to put a little bit of stuffing in mine. I've got old pillows. So what I'm going to do is pull this very, very thin, so it's just like one level thickness. It's to be the same thickness throughout, and flatten it down, and then literally put it inside the bunny, placing the top on. So let me just make sure you can see. So I've got my back panel there. I'm going to put the stuffing on the top, okay, and then the front panel on the top. And then what you need to do is make sure that that stuffing is inside. You do with pinning it really, and manipulate the stuffing so it goes. Manipulate the stuffing so it actually is everywhere. Tear a bit if you want. So you see, so that back bit, I might have tried to sort of make sure that it goes a little bit up on the ears there and a little bit in the ears there. And then you put your top panel on and then just pin it right inside all the way around the edge. And then what we will do is we will sew all the way around the edge. And what you'll do then, you'll just have it slightly stuffed, not bulky or anything, but just so that it's not flat, and then it will make for a better hanging like that. So get the two pieces together like so. So you've got the right sides outwards. You do the opposite to this if you're stuffing it and turn it inside, of course, like I said before. Then get your piece of stuffing, and this is an old pillow as I said before. Get it to it's only a single thickness. Lay it on your bottom edge. Tear it off if it's get too big. And it's great, this stuff, it just sticks back on itself. So just manipulate it so you've got that single bit inside the ears, inside the head part, pulling off a little bit and just sticking it on so that everywhere is covered, but only make it single thickness. Alright, flatten it down. Alright, so you can see on the, I've kind of like gone round the shape of it there, haven't I? And then when you've done that, lay that top piece on top, and then we need to pin that down so that when you sew it together, you're sewing it as a sandwich. And yes, you will see the edges and it will look a little bit rustic and rough, but that's the appeal of this one. As I said before, if you want to make it all without any rough edges, right sides together, sew it round, leave a little gap about that much, turn it inside out and then stuff it afterwards. I've also got this, what I've shown you in the past video, the Easter Bunny, huge Easter Bunny. It's about as big as from my elbow to my hands. It's a nice tall one. I'm going to cut that out of fabric, sew that right size together, turn it out and stuff it with the stuffing. Simple. Running stitch on the sewing machine, and then I'll show you what they look like afterwards as well. Okay, so I've got the sewing machine set up and I've pinned the bunnies now. Okay, so I've pinned it in. You can see the stuffing poking out. That's fine, because what we're going to do is, if there's any excess when we've sewn it, that can all be just pulled away. But what I want to do is make sure that there's enough in each part of it first when I go around, otherwise you can be left with like a little empty part, and it doesn't look as thick as the others, you know. So it's just a case of just getting more, just so that all the edges are filled. So that's how it looks when it's pinned. Okay, and it's got the stuffing all the way around the perimeter, and we're just going to do a running stitch about ½ centimetre in, all the way around. Let's get going. Make sure that everything has been pinned correctly together, all the edges. It's sometimes a little bit hard and you've got your stuffing hanging out. Put the edges right, make sure they all bang on, and then we'll get going. So thread up your sewing machine. I'm using a pink and a yellow thread. Start right in the middle here and slowly go around. You can actually do a zigzag as well. I think I will. I'll do a zigzag actually, because that will help the fabric, won't it? So I'll do a zigzag stitch. Take your time. This stuffing is very easily jammed into the machine if you're not careful, so you just take your time. Use the edge as your guide. So I'm just literally just going round, probably about ½ centimetre in from the edge. I hope you can see. I hope I'm not blocking you too much. Sorry, friends, if I have done. I've just noticed that the arm keeps coming round, isn't it? Anyway, I'm just sewing carefully all around the perimeter. I'll show you in a moment. Take it out of the sewing machine and remove the pins. And just trim off all the pieces of cotton. Right, so now this is what you've got now. Okay, you've got a bit of fluff now that's come out of the edge, but you've got this sort of padded bunny. Not too padded, but it's giving it a little bit of fullness. Alright, so that hopefully it will hang better. And then with your scissors, just go around and trim off all that stuffing that's hanging out. I'm going to put it on probably some sort of twine or something like that, so I want to make it a bit more rustic, this one, and not perfect. I'm just kind of trying pull it away as well. Okay, so that's the first one. You can iron that then if you want to. Iron it flat so it, you know, make sure it's all the same flatness then. I'll do that in a little while, but I'll get on now with doing all the rest. They look nice, don't they? Nice little bunny. So I'll get on with the others. There's plenty more to do, so same thing, just go straight back round, carefully keeping the edge of the sewing machine onto the edge of your fabric. So that's the next one done. So again, trimming up time, remove all the pins, lovely, and then time to just trim these edges off again. Okay. And the stuffing, of course. Cut out all your threads. And that's it. This is a very pretty little fabric actually. Ideal for Easter time and springtime. So, you know, you don't have to look like a bunny. It could be any fabric in the shape of a bunny. And they look quite nice. Okay, so I'm going to do those with all the others. I've got 2 at the moment done. I'm going to carry on and do the rest, and then I'll show you the next stage. So get looking in your fabric stashes, guys, so that you can cut something out. Look for inspiration on the actual templates online. Find it's sort of a bunny shape and then draw it, freehand draw it. Or if you've got something, you can copy or trace it and then copy it onto cardboard and make yourself a template, and then put out a fabric of your choice. Right friends, so we've done 4 now of the bunnies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. Okay, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to do a couple of these big Easter rabbits as well. So I've got my fabric laid out. I'm just going to do one there, and then remember to always reverse your pattern as well. So I'm going to try and fit them on as best I can. I think I'll do this one diagonal because it doesn't matter so much on the back. So just use your big pattern and go around it on the fabric, and then we'll cut it out. And what we're going to do then is we will put the pieces together, sew it, and then we'll stuff it with the pillow stuffing, or stuffing what you've bought, if you've bought special stuffing. So I've got 2 pieces of fabric, cut them out, and then I'll show you what to do next. Hope you're having a good day. Quite pleased because it had given a lot of snow and we haven't had that much snow, so that's good. People can still get about. Often, you know, when they say it's going to snow, you think, oh dear, when it really snows very heavy and then everyone is stranded. That's always a problem, isn't it? Because we're not equipped to cope with the snow like they do in countries abroad, like Norway and Finland and everywhere else. They're just so used to it. They've got the logistics and the infrastructure to cope with everything, haven't they? Because they have it so often. And sometimes come to a standstill if you get a lot of snow. I'm starting this Easter project very early because obviously I feel a lot of people will be wanting to look at Easter a lot early now, and obviously things take time to make. And in the shops, you see, everything comes in so early, doesn't it? You get your Christmas, and after Christmas you've got Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and often Easter all together in the shops, loaded up. So I think the shops make us think about things a lot earlier on in the season as we would do. And a lot of people now are wanting to decorate more, aren't they, for celebrations. Makes your house look better if you've got a bit of a decoration up, a bit more cheerful. I've seen a few houses over the years that have got Christmas decorations up all year round. I think it's probably taken them so much effort to put the decorations up in the first place on the side of buildings, they probably think, oh, I'm leaving it up. Which is quite funny. We often do decorate quite a bit earlier. I like to decorate on the second weekend of December. It really doesn't matter, does it? It's whatever you feel like you want to do and what you've got time to do. Some people obviously don't feel like it should be all about decoration. It's all about a religious celebration, of course. Some people don't agree with Halloween. It's whatever you like to do, isn't it? Right, so I'm cutting these out, and then what I will do is right sides together. We'll sew them, and then I'll keep a gap so that we can then turn them inside the right way out and then stuff it, and then I'll just do a little hand stitch to sew the gap up when it's all stuffed, and I'll show you what it's like afterwards. So you've got your 2 pieces here. So these are your 2 pieces, and you need to put them together. You'll notice that one is that way and the other one is that way, and that's because they're going to go right side together this time, not like the ones that we sewed last time, these, because we were sewing them on the outside, so it was just the opposite. But this one we want to sew all the way around. Okay, so put the right size inside, and I'm going to sew on the sewing machine all the way around. I'm going to leave myself a little gap of about the length of your little finger, and then carry on. So there's just that little gap. Turn it inside out, stuff it with your stuffing, and then you'll sew that up and stitch it. And I'll show you when I've done that what it looks like. Right guys, I went to Hobbycraft and I got some felt pieces. They've got all sorts of different colours, and they're 50p a sheet, and you can get 2 egg shapes out of them. Okay, so each have cost me £2, it's £6 altogether. But all you need to do is do yourself a template and draw around them and cut yourself out. I chose yellow, pink and blue, but it's all sorts of colours, so it's personal choice. And I thought it'd be really nice to incorporate that in the garland, make it a little bit more Easter. And I've also used the stuffing to make little fluffy pom-pom kind of looking tails. So I'm going to use a glue gun and just stick the pom-pom onto the back of the bunny, so it looks like a little tail on its back. So just quite a quick, simple thing to do. So check which side you want, your front, and which is your back, and then get yourself a little scrunched up ball. You could use anything for these if you want to. You know, it'd be nice with a bit of felt as well, but because I've got a lot of this stuffing, I just thought it'd be ideal just to use a bit of that. So I've just stuck it with a glue gun, so it's instant on the back. I don't know if you can see, and it's like a little fluffy tail. And we'll just do that to all of them, making sure that I check which I want the front and which I want for the back. That's the front, okay, and just stick my little pom-pom on the back. This glue gets everywhere. Obviously you could use some beads or something like that as well for the eyes. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. I must say, Hobbycraft, as always, I've got some fabulous Easter crafts in. I've got myself a kit that you can just do a little felted bunny as well, which I'm looking forward to doing. We've got all sorts there. You know, it's nice, you don't have to always do everything from scratch. It's nice to sometimes buy a kit form as well, you know, so that you've got everything included. Sometimes it works out much more economical as well if you buy a kit form instead of buying everything in a single amount, you know, because it can add up to a lot of money. But if you do crafts often, you can keep your bits. Right, so I've got blue ribbon, and what I'm going to do is try and alternate in the blue ribbon. So this is just a 3 metre length piece of ribbon. You can do it as long or as short as you want. Start at the end. And basically I always buy a lot of these little tiny mini pegs. I find them so helpful. I'm going to just pin one of the little Easter egg shapes on. 16, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the foot on my sewing machine has just dropped and it won't work. So unfortunately I have made 8 bunnies, but 3 of them are still not sewn. So I'm going to have to come back and add to that, aren't I, at a later stage. But for the meantime, I'll just do this craft for you. and show you with just 5 bunnies. And obviously you don't have to have a set amount of bunnies anyway. I just thought it would be nicer with a little bit extra, like an Easter egg. And of course you can decorate these as well. If you wanted to put some more sort of embellishments on these Easter eggs, you could do, couldn't you? Decorate them however you choose fit. So that's the back. And the good thing about crafting is it's all unique, you know, what you make, which is nice, isn't it? Because you don't want the same as everybody else if you just go to a random place. It's nice to have something that's a bit unique yourself. And if you're having a little party for the kids and an Easter egg bonnet competition, Easter egg hunt, there's all sorts of things. It's nice to decorate the home, isn't it? Having lots of visitors as well. For Easter, maybe Easter Sunday, you're doing a meal, having your family around or friends, a party for the children. Nice times, isn't it? So you could also get your kids to make these with you. So it's a simple craft that they would like probably to do as well. They could decorate the Easter eggs, couldn't they? Stick little buttons and all sorts of little decorations on. I'm pleased with the big rabbits as well. I'll show that shortly. What I've done is I've sewn them and stuffed them now, guys, so you can see them. It was easy to do. You don't need to see me sewing them. Let's get some more of these mini pegs. I'm getting quite low on these. I will, when I've sewn the others and sorted my machine out, I will add to this, as I said, because I've got more. And I'll take a picture of it now so you can see what it looks like all hung up. Let me show you the big Easter bunnies that I've made. So if you remember, this was a large one that we used, a really big pattern, and that's how it's come out. And I've stuffed it and then just cabled it. So if you remember, I've stitched all the way around, leaving a big gap here, about that big, and then turned it inside out and then stuffed it all through the gap and really pushed it into the edges, all that stuffing. When it was full up, so that everything was all stuffed, I've then just stitched it as neat as possible along the edge. And then what I've done is I've glued a couple of buttons either side for their eyes. And I really like that. I'm going to just put it up against the sewing machine. And I did it in another fabric as well. I quite like this one as well. This one's in blue, I've done the metal eyes, and I found a bit of rick-rack on, so I've glue sticked that. Make it into a bow actually, or leave it like that. Made him in a little bow. So he's a nice little one as well, in blue. And that was the third one. And I put a little ribbon on him as well. I'm quite pleased with those. They're the big rabbits as well. They'll be nice when we decorate at Easter time to put those out as well, won't they? We could put a few little Easter eggs next to them as well. And some little chickens, and I'll find something to go with them nearer the time. But they're really worth doing. You can find a pattern or just freeform it, copy a pattern off the internet, out of cardboard, and then so easy. I'm going to hang these up now, guys, and hopefully against the wall so you'll be able to see them. Right guys, so here's the bunting hanging up. I hope you agree, it looks really nice and festive. And especially the felt piece as well, with little felt eggs in between the bunnies, make it look really, the colours are lovely, aren't they? They really add to actually the bunting, I think. So I hope you'll make it. It's a really easy craft and it'll really jolly the place up, won't it, at Easter time. And here's the Easter large bunnies that are stuffed as well. You could make them out of any kind of fabric. I've used obviously the fabric that I have in my fabric stash. Be lovely. Obviously you could make them and give them to small children, but be careful obviously of things like buttons if they're going to be a toy. Thanks for watching. Hope it's inspired you to make something for yourself, and hope to see you again. Please subscribe and hit the notification button as well so you can be notified of when I upload another video. Thanks a lot and have a great day.